Hey guys, Darren back again. Just got this quick video I wanted to show you. I thought it was kind of interesting, but let's go through it. I picked up this Genesis 3, which, it's a little bit rare, especially here in Australia. So I wanted to get it working and just give it a bit of a clean up and just go through the process. But someone's put this AV composite video cable and they've sort of soldered it to the board, I'm guessing, and run it out of the jack here and cut holes in the case and run it out the side of the case. I don't like that. I have no idea why they would do that when this already has a Mega Drive 2, style multi-out connector, which has composite video and RGB and stereo audio sitting right there on the connector. So unless that connector is faulty, it would make sense, but even so, it's a pretty shit way to do it. Open this up. It's already missing a screw in that corner, and that one. Let's take this screw out. In fact, I'm not sure. Oh, there you go. Well, that screw was there. Okay, so underneath it all looks pretty good actually. It's all in good condition. These things have got the wide slots, if you notice as well. Like the actual slot's been widened, and when you compare that to a standard Genesis, this is another one here I'm just cleaning up. I didn't make a video on it, but you see a little notch there in the corner? That prevents Japanese carts being inserted, but there's no need for it to really be there. They can play all carts. So it's interesting that this one doesn't have that, and it's just got a straight through connector, so it's pretty cool. Right, so we need to take this board out, dig a bit further, so let's get on with that. Okay, so a couple of screws fell out as I did that. So a big single chip in these, the SEGA 315-6123. Pretty simple, these little things, but it's kind of interesting to see what happened at the end of the lifespan of this console and what they came up with. So when I put all this back together, I'll kind of dig into my parts bin and see if I can find some replacement screws. I should have heaps. Right, so this now comes out. There's a screw stuck down in there. But other than that, everything is pretty good. We'll give all the plastic a wash. Let's take a look at this. So what's he done here? So it looks like it's just been soldered directly to the board, just on the multi-outs. So I'm just going to take that off, and then I'll test this connector out. Even if it doesn't work, I would rather replace that entire something from my spare parts bin, rather than this solution. I just don't like this solution at all. Okay, so I've just got a composite video cable plugged into my monitor up there, and yeah, it's a Mega Drive 2 one, so that should work. Let's just plug this in and see what happens. Just got one of the Global Garage Mega Drive 2 power adapters, so that's running 240 volts in, and the correct DC voltage out. That'll run a Genesis 3 fine. I've got a PAL Sonic game, so let's see what happens there. That should be fine as well. The early Mega Drive games don't have any protection, the TMSS protection, so without getting into that, if you want to make a PAL game work on a foreign console, just start with just use a very early game in the early release cycle of the console, and it'll just boot on nearly any console. So I use Sonic the Hedgehog because it's just one of the originals, and it generally works on everything. And if we flick that on and look up at our screen, there we go. All right. Okay, so that's all working well. Yeah, so far so good. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. So that is really interesting. So why they ran that AV cable out, I have no idea. Alright, next test is to plug it into the CRT and try RGB with stereo and just see if the other pins of the connector are also working. Okay, so I've just got it plugged in over here. No controllers at this stage. It's going in via SCART to the CRT. So let's have a look. Okay, so RGB works as well. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, what shits me about some of these consoles is the TV starts up in widescreen, so you can see that this is 60 hertz. Don't get confused, but you see this border top and bottom. It's not the 50 or 60 hertz. It's the aspect ratio. So if we just grab the remote and look down here, you can see it starts up in 16:9, which shits me to tears. So just flick that back to 4:3, and it looks much better. It fills the screen, and that's how it should be. It's nice 60 hertz, 4:3, full screen. Audio sounds good, video's good, colors are good. Everything's good, and that's both composite and RGB. So that actually looks really good. It's actually phenomenal RGB coming out of this thing. It's really crisp. So sounds good as well. Like the caps are all good. So yeah, let's power this back down. So that's pretty unexpected, but kind of expect. You know, these things. You usually find that there's nothing really wrong with half of these untested sort of consoles that you pick up. So this one was untested, sold as untested, but you know, it was a bit unknown with the cable hanging out the side, but the good news is it all worked out really well, and there's actually nothing wrong with it. Even the caps seem all fine. The video looks great. The sounds amazing. So there's no reason to change anything at the moment. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put this back together. So that's, you know, a repair video. Didn't turn into really a repair video, so sorry about that. I'm going to definitely aim to make some proper repair videos again soon. I've got a multi-mega I'm working on. I've just ordered a cap kit for it. That's completely dead. That needs a complete overhaul, cap kit, new laser, the whole lot. So that video is underway. I'm working on that. But in the meantime, I thought I'd film something and you know, get something up online. Turns out there's nothing wrong with this thing, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Alright, so what have we got here? Let's put this back together. That just sits back in there. We're going to need some slot screws. Now, we were missing a couple of screws when we pulled this apart, so I've got my spare set of screws next to me, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some of these back in. But that's pretty cool. I've got myself a 60 hertz Genesis 3 now, so that'll just stay in my collection. That's it's not a bad little console actually. I've already given the plastic a clean up, so you know that was washed and conditioned, and that's come up pretty well. So you know, overall, that's not a bad little console. They don't have the expansion side ports over here for the CD, you know, the Mega CD expansion, and I don't know if they support the 32X. I'm not sure about that. I might give mine a test, but for now, let's just put it back together. So put the RF shield back on. Okay, so that's all put back together and it looks really good. I also gave the controller ports a test. I plugged in 2 controllers and gave it a complete test and a bit of a play, and everything just seems to work perfectly. The slot's really tight, it works first shot. I didn't really have to do anything to the slot at all. You know, it is a little bit of a shame that the plastic case here is damaged from that stupid cable they installed, but you know what, it's sort of tucked underneath there and you don't really see that one, and yeah, that one's a bit of a shame. Well, that's a bit of a shame, but what do you do, right? You know, this was pretty cheap. I don't think it owes me much at all. I think I got this for about $20 delivered to the door from the US. You know, I bought it in a bunch of other things, so that's the way I do it. I generally don't buy individual bits and pieces from overseas. I generally buy them in a bundle and you know, split them up, sell on what I don't want, keep what I want to keep. You don't end up paying too much. So sorry this didn't turn out to be an interesting repair video, but yeah, it's something to watch, and we'll come back soon with some better videos. Alright guys, take it easy.